The crystal hulls of the Coalition flagship Eternal Harmony glowed with soft violet light. Tall pillars of living glass rose from floor to ceiling. They pulsed in slow rhythm like a calm heartbeat. Elders from 37 ancient species sat in a wide circle. Their bodies varied greatly, some feathered, some scaled, some made of light mist, but all shared the same quiet fear in their eyes. Coordinator Alaris stood at the center. He was Vireth, tall and thin, with silver skin that caught every light. His large black eyes moved across the circle. For many cycles he had led debates. Today, no one argued. They only listened. The holo-display floated above them. It showed the void rift near Lyris 9. At first it looked small, a dark tear in space no bigger than a moon. Now it stretched wider than a star system. Black edges swallowed light. Thin tendrils of shadow reached out like hungry fingers. Every day, the rift grew. Every day, more stars dimmed. Alaris spoke in a calm voice that carried to every mind in the room. We have sent the Plea. It traveled on every channel, every beacon, every old relay left by forgotten races. 3 standard years have passed. No answer has come. A low murmur moved through the elders. Some lowered heads. Some closed extra eyelids. One small winged creature from the outer rim made a soft, sad sound like wind through leaves. An elder named Thalvor, a crystalline being whose body chimed when he moved, spoke next. Our probes are gone. Our scouts do not return. The rift feeds on dark matter now. If it reaches critical mass, this arm of the galaxy ends. Our worlds, our children, everything. Alaris nodded once. We prepared for this day. Evacuation fleets stand ready. But they will take generations to move billions. Many will be left behind. We must accept what is coming. Silence returned. Long. Then, a young aide hurried into the circle. Her skin flushed pale blue with excitement and fear. She bowed low. Coordinator. A signal. It came from the rim, uncharted space. The source is human. The word hung in the air like something strange and new. Alaris turned to the holo-display. With a small gesture, he brought up the message. A human face appeared. Female. Short brown hair. Gray eyes steady. Uniform simple and dark. Behind her, a bridge full of activity. Screens flashing. Crew moving quick but calm. The voice came clear. Young. Direct. This is Captain Laura Bennett of the heavy cruiser Endeavor, United Terran Exploratory Fleet. We received your distress call 3 days ago. We are already moving at maximum burn. ETA to Lyris 9 is 37 standard days. Hold position if you can. We are bringing every ship we could pull from nearby sectors. Science vessels, combat escorts, repair tugs. Everything we have. We will see you soon. The message ended. The elders stared. Thalvor chimed softly. Humans, the young ones. They have barely walked among the stars for 2 centuries. Another elder, a feathered Aelori named Lyra Voss, tilted her head. They answered in 3 days. Our own relay stations take longer to confirm a signal. Ilaris felt something move inside him. Not hope yet. Something closer to surprise. Play it again, he said. The message repeated. The same calm voice. The same direct words. No long greetings. No formal offers of alliance. Just facts. ETA. Ships coming. Help on the way. The aide spoke again. There is more. Sensor logs show a single ship jumped ahead of the main fleet. It is the Endeavor itself. They sent their captain first. Alone. The elders looked at each other. One old Zorath with deep red fur rumbled low. Why would they risk one ship? Why not wait for the full force? Ilaris answered quietly. Because waiting costs time. And time is what the rift takes from us. He turned back to the display. The human captain's face stayed frozen there. No fear in her eyes. Only focus. Prepare a welcome beacon, Alaris ordered, and open all data channels. Give them everything we have on the rift. No secrets, no delays. The aide bowed and left. The elders remained in the circle. For the first time in many cycles, they did not debate. They waited. Outside the flagship, the stars looked normal. Bright, calm. But near Lyris 9, the dark tear grew. It pulled in light, like a hungry mouth. Coalition ships patrolled the edge at safe distance. Their elegant hulls shone with phase shields. Weapons stayed cold. No one knew how to fight a hole in space. Days passed slow. Then the beacon picked up a new signal. The Endeavor had arrived. The small ship dropped out of jump, close to the rift. Too close for Coalition comfort. Its hull looked plain. Gray metal with scorch marks from hard travel. Engines glowed hot white. No fancy curves. No living crystal. Just function. Laura Bennett appeared again on the main viewer. She stood on her bridge. Crew worked around her. No panic. Coordinator Alaris, she said. We're here. Show us the problem. Alaris stepped forward. Captain Bennett, your speed honors us. The rift is unstable. It grows faster now. We have lost 3 more stations in the last cycle. Laura nodded. We saw the readings on approach. Dark matter inflow is up 20% since your last transmission. We launched survey drones the moment we dropped out. They're mapping the core now. The elders watched her speak. She used short sentences, clear words, no poetry, no ceremony. A coalition scientist, a thin Alari with glowing veins, spoke up. Captain, the rift defies our models. Energy signatures do not match any known phenomenon. Laura looked straight at the camera. We know. Our first scans show pre-collapse tech. Old gate framework buried in subspace. Someone built it long ago and left it running. It's stuck open. We can close it. But we need to act fast. The elders felt cold again. Laura continued. My main fleet arrives in 3 days. Until then, my ship will anchor containment fields. We brought prototypes, gravity inverters. They should slow the growth. Science teams will link with yours. Share everything. Alaris bowed his head slightly. You came alone. You risk your vessel. Laura gave a small shrug. Someone had to start. Waiting kills more than jumping in does. She turned to someone off screen. Launch the first inverters. Get them in position. The bridge crew moved fast. No hesitation. Alaris watched the human ship on external sensors. Small against the dark rift. Yet it moved closer. Or foolish. The elders could not decide. Laura looked back at the viewer. We're not here to talk philosophy or sign treaties today. We're here to stop this thing from eating your stars. Let's get to work. The channel stayed open. For the first time in thousands of cycles, the elders felt something new. Not gratitude yet. Not relief. But possibility. Because they had sent a plea beyond distant worlds. And only humans had answered. 3 days felt like a very short time. The elders of the coalition spent them in quiet waiting. They gathered data. They watched the rift grow. They talked in low voices about what one small human ship could really do. Some hoped, some doubted. Most just watched the dark tear in space pull more light into nothing. Then the sensors lit up. The rest of the human fleet arrived all at once. 112 ships dropped out of jump in a tight pattern around Lyris 9. No elegant formation like coalition vessels. No slow glide into position. They came in fast and hard. Engines flared bright. Shields snapped on. Small stout craft shot out like sparks from a fire. On the bridge of the Eternal Harmony, Coordinator Alaris stood with his aides. The main viewer split into many windows. Each showed a different human ship. Some looked new and clean. Others had old scars and patched hulls. A few still carried names from civilian fleets. Names like Dawnrunner and Starhauler. They had turned cargo ships into warships in a hurry. Captain Laura Bennett appeared again. Her face looked the same, steady, no smile, no fear. "Coordinator Alaris," she said, "the fleet is here. We brought what we could pull together on short notice. Science vessels for analysis, heavy cruisers for defense, repair tugs in case things go wrong. We also have marine detachments and engineering teams ready to deploy." Alaris nodded slowly. "Your numbers surprise us. 112 vessels. That is more than we expected from a young species." Laura gave a small shrug. "When the call comes, you don't send half measures. We pulled ships from 3 sectors. Some were in dry dock. Some were on patrol. We told them the situation. They came running." Behind her, a human officer spoke up. "All ships report ready, Captain. Drones on standby." Laura turned back to the viewer. "We need to link data feeds. Send us your latest rift scans. Every detail. Energy spikes. Mass fluctuations. Anything you have." The Coalition science officer, a thin Elari named Vera Loon, stepped forward. "Transmitting now. But Captain, our models show the rift will reach critical in less than 60 cycles. Even with your ships, closing it may be impossible." Laura looked straight at him. "Nothing is impossible until you try. Our first drones already mapped the core. It's an old gate frame, pre-collapse tech. Someone left it running and forgot to turn it off. We can overload the anchors and collapse the event horizon. But we need to get close. Very close." The elders exchanged glances. Getting close meant danger. Ships had vanished when they tried. Laura continued. "My plan is simple. We form a ring around the rift. Science vessels channel power to containment fields. Combat ships screen for any anomalies that come out. Engineering teams plant the final charges on the anchor points. We do it fast. We do it together." Alaris spoke quiet. "You speak as if this is routine." "It's not," Laura answered. "But we train for things like this. Black holes, warp storms, ancient weapons that wake up angry. We don't wait for perfect conditions. We make them." She turned to her bridge. "Launch phase 1. Get those anchors in place." The human fleet moved. Small engineering craft darted forward. They looked tiny next to the rift. Teams in heavy suits jumped out with thrusters. They carried massive devices, gravity inverters that glowed soft blue. The devices clamped onto invisible anchor points deep in subspace. Lights flared along the rift's edge. For the first time, the growth slowed. Coalition ships watched in silence. Their elegant vessels stayed back. Human ships pressed forward. Then the rift answered. A thick shadow tendril lashed out. It hit a Coalition frigate on the edge. The ship crumpled like paper. No explosion, just sudden silence as the hull folded into nothing. Laura's voice cut through the open channel. "All ships evasive. Combat screen engage." Human destroyers moved in fast. They poured railgun fire into the tendril. Tungsten rods punched through shadow. The tendril recoiled. More fire followed. The shadow pulled back into the rift. Laura stayed calm. "Damage report on that Coalition ship." A voice answered. "Total loss. No survivors." Laura closed her eyes for 1 second, then opened them. "Understood. Keep the screen tight. No more losses on our watch." The elders felt something heavy settle in the room. Humans had come to help, and already they paid a price. Laura looked back at Alaris. "We're sorry for your people, but we can't stop now. The rift is reacting. We need to finish the anchors before it wakes up more." Alaris bowed his head. "Your courage honors the lost." Laura shook her head. "Save the honors. Let's close this thing." The work went on. Human Marines boarded derelict stations near the rift. They fought through dark corridors filled with strange mist. Shadows tried to grab them. Blades flashed. Explosives cleared paths. One Marine, Corporal Nathan Brooks, lost his helmet when a shadow struck. Air leaked. He kept moving, sealed a control node with one hand while his suit patched itself. His voice came over comms, laughing through pain. "Node secure. Told you I could do it one-handed." Laura answered, "Good work. Get back to the ship." More anchors went live. The ring formed. Blue energy fields stretched across the rift. The growth stopped, then reversed, just a little. The elders watched every move. Humans did not pause. They did not debate. When something failed, they fixed it. When something hurt, they kept going. Vera Loon spoke quiet to Alaris. "They act like the rift is a problem to solve, not a god to fear." Alaris watched Laura on the viewer. The human captain stood with arms crossed, eyes on the data, voice steady as she gave orders. "They do not fear it," he said. "They fight it." Hours turned into a full cycle. The human fleet held position. Repair drones swarmed damaged ships. Medbays took wounded from both sides. Coalition doctors worked beside human ones. Green blood mixed with red on the same tables. Laura opened a private channel to Alaris. "We're almost ready for the final sequence. One more push. Then we overload the core. It will hurt. Ships will shake. Some may not make it. But if we do this right, the rift closes." Alaris looked at her. "You risk everything for strangers." Laura met his gaze. "Not strangers, neighbors. When your house is on fire, you don't ask who lives there. You bring water." Alaris felt the words settle deep. The elders gathered again. They watched the ring of human ships glow brighter. Power built. The rift began to fight harder. Shadows lashed out again and again. Humans answered every time, with fire, with steel, with stubborn will. And in the quiet halls of the eternal harmony, the ancient species began to understand something new. They had sent a plea beyond distant worlds, and only humans had answered swiftly. Because to humans, help was not a ceremony. It was a race against time. The ring of human ships glowed brighter each hour. Blue energy fields stretched thin across the black edges of the rift. The growth had slowed to almost nothing. For the first time in many cycles, the elders felt a small spark of real hope. They watched from the eternal harmony as human engineering teams worked without rest. Small figures in heavy suits floated near the rift. They adjusted anchors. They ran cables thick as arms. They sealed leaks in the containment fields with quick patches. Captain Laura Bennett stayed on her bridge the whole time. She slept in short naps in her chair. Her eyes never left the main display. When a field flickered weak, she gave orders fast. When a drone failed, she sent another. Her voice stayed calm, even when alarms screamed. On the Coalition flagship, Coordinator Alaris stood with Virulun and the other scientists. They studied the human data feeds. Numbers scrolled too fast for most eyes. But the humans understood them. They predicted shifts in the rift before Coalition models caught up. Virulun spoke quiet. "Their systems are simple. Crude in places, but fast, very fast. They do not wait for perfect calculations. They act on good enough data and adjust later." Alaris nodded. "They treat the rift like a fire. Put it out first, ask questions later." Then the rift woke up angry. A low hum started deep in subspace. Sensors screamed. The blue field shook. Shadows poured out. Not thin tendrils this time. Thick shapes. Living darkness with claws of nothing. They moved like smoke, but hit like steel. One shadow struck a human destroyer. The ship rocked hard. Hull plates tore open. Atmosphere vented in white clouds. Alarms filled every channel. Laura's voice cut through. "All combat ships, focus fire on the avatars. Science vessels, hold the fields. Do not break the ring." Human cruisers moved in tight. Railguns roared. Tungsten rods punched into shadow. Explosions bloomed, dark and silent. The first avatar shredded. But more came. 5, 10, 20. A Coalition cruiser tried to help. It fired clean energy beams. The shadows ignored them. One grabbed the ship, pulled it toward the rift. Laura ordered quick. Endeavor and Escort Group Alpha, intercept, pull that ship free. 3 human destroyers burned engines hot. They flew between the Shadow and the Coalition cruiser. Point defense guns chattered. Missiles streaked out. The Shadow recoiled just enough. Human grapples shot forward. Thick cables locked onto the damaged cruiser. Engines strained. They dragged it back to safety. The Coalition crew inside sent a shaky thank you over comms. Voices full of shock. Laura answered short. Stay clear. We've got this. Marines launched from human carriers. They wore heavy gray armor with blue lights. Thrusters pushed them into the fight. They met shadows in open space. Explosives bloomed on contact. One Marine, Corporal Nathan Brooks, lost his left arm when a shadow clawed through his suit. Blood floated in red beads. He kept firing with his right hand. His team pulled him back. Nathan laughed over open comms. Arms gone. Still got one good trigger finger. Let's finish this. Laura heard it. Her face stayed calm, but her hand tightened on the armrest. The shadows pressed harder. They targeted the science vessels. One small human ship took a direct hit. Its reactor breached. A bright flash lit the void. The ship vanished in fire. Laura closed her eyes for one heartbeat, then opened them. Replace that vessel. Move the reserve science ship into position. Keep the field stable. No anger in her voice. No grief. Just next step. The elders watched in silence. Humans bled, humans died, humans kept working. Viralun whispered, "They lose people and do not stop. That is why they came fast. They know loss. They still move." The final phase began. Human science vessels formed a perfect circle. Every reactor poured power into one beam. A thin line of white light shot toward the rift core. It struck. The void screamed. Space folded around the beam. Ships shook hard. Metal groaned. Crew held tight to stations. The rift fought back. More shadows poured out. Human combat ships met them head-on. They fired everything. Guns, missiles, even point defense cannons until barrels glowed red. One shadow reached the Endeavor. It wrapped around the bow. Hull plates buckled. Alarms screamed red. Laura stood. Engineering, reroute power to forward shields. Marines stand by at breach points. The shadow pressed. Metal creaked. Then Nathan Brooks, back on his feet with one arm in a sling, led a team outside. They planted charges on the shadow itself. Explosives bloomed against darkness. The shadow tore apart. The beam grew brighter. The rift shrank. Edges pulled inward. Shadows thinned. Then, one last push. The core pulsed. A wave of dark energy rushed out. It hit every ship. Lights flickered. Systems crashed. Gravity fields failed for seconds. Humans held on. They rerouted power. They rebooted fast. They kept the beam steady. The wave passed. The rift collapsed. A final flash. Then nothing. Stars shone clear again. No dark tear. No hungry mouth. Just quiet space. The human fleet hung still. Many ships damaged. Some leaking air. Some dark and silent. Laura appeared on the viewer. Face smudged with soot. Uniform torn at the shoulder. Eyes tired, but clear. "It's closed," she said simple. Elleris stepped forward. His voice shook just a little. "Captain Bennett, your people, you saved us." Laura shook her head. "We helped, that's all. We could not do it alone." Elleris bowed low. The gesture spread. Every elder in the room bowed. Laura looked at them. "We lost good people today. So did you. We mourn together later. Right now we secure the area. Repair what we can. Get the wounded home." She turned to her crew. "All ships, damage control. Search for survivors. Medical teams to the worst-hit vessels. Coalition medics are welcome to help. The channel closed. Alaris looked at his elders. They did not wait for thanks. They did not ask for reward. They simply acted. Vera Loon spoke quiet. Humans answered swiftly, and they finished what they started. Outside, the rift was gone. Stars burned bright once more. In the damaged human fleet, crews worked. They patched hulls. They carried wounded. They laughed soft when someone cracked a joke over comms. Nathan Brooks sat in medbay, one arm gone, a new prosthetic already being fitted. He looked at the stars through a small window. Worth it, he said to no one. Laura walked the corridors of the Endeavor. She stopped at every repair team, every medbay. She spoke to each person. Short words. Thank you. Good work. Rest when you can. The elders watched it all on their screens. They saw something they had forgotten. Strength was not always old, not always slow. Sometimes it was young, fast, willing to bleed for strangers. Because when the plea went out beyond distant worlds, only humans answered, swiftly, and they stayed until the job was done. The rift was gone. Space looked clean again. Stars shone bright without shadows eating their light. But the battlefield stayed full of scars. Broken ships drifted slow. Pieces of metal floated in long trails. Emergency beacons blinked weak from damaged hulls. The human fleet hung quiet. Many vessels showed black burns and open wounds where armor had peeled away. Coalition ships looked better, elegant even in damage, but they had stayed farther back. Humans had taken the hardest hits. Captain Laura Bennett walked the corridors of the Endeavor. Her boots rang soft on metal deck plates. She stopped at every repair team. She spoke to wounded crew in medbay. Short words. Thank you. You did good. Rest now. Her uniform stayed torn at the shoulder. Soot marked her face. She did not clean it yet. In the main medbay, Nathan Brooks sat on a bed. His left arm ended in a clean stump just below the elbow. A temporary prosthetic waited nearby. Simple metal and wires. He grinned when Laura entered. Captain, he said. Told you one arm was enough. Laura gave a small smile. You're grounded from EVA until the new one is fitted. Doctor's orders. Nathan laughed. Fair, but we closed it, right? Worth the price. Laura nodded once. Worth it. She moved on. She checked every section. Engineering, gunnery, life support. People worked tired, but steady. They patched leaks. They rerouted power. They helped coalition wounded too. Human medics shared supplies. Coalition doctors learned human triage methods fast. On the Eternal Harmony, Coordinator Alaris gathered his council again. The Crystal Hall felt different now. Pillars still glowed soft violet, but the elders sat closer together. Their voices stayed low. They watched live feeds from human ships. They saw crews laugh while they worked. They saw medics treat green blood and red blood on the same tables. They saw small acts of care that needed no words. Hilaris spoke first. The rift is closed. Our stars are safe. But the cost, many lives, mostly human. Vera Lun answered quiet. They did not hesitate. When the avatars came, they moved forward. We moved back. That is the difference. Thalvor chimed slow. We have lived long. We planned careful. We waited for certainty. Humans acted on possibility. They paid for our caution. Lyra Voss ruffled her feathers. They lost a science vessel. They lost Marines. Yet they kept the field steady. They did not break. Alaris looked at the main viewer. The Endeavor floated close, small against coalition flagships, yet it looked stronger somehow. Open a channel to Captain Bennett, he said. Laura appeared moments later. She stood on her bridge. Crew worked around her. She looked tired, but alert. Coordinator, she said. Hilaris bowed again. Captain Bennett. The Coalition owes you more than words can carry. Your fleet bled for us. Your people died for us. We will remember. Laura shook her head. We did what needed doing. No debt, no score, just neighbors helping neighbors. Ilaris paused. You speak of neighbors. We have been alone in our way for too long. We see now what that costs. Laura nodded. We were alone once too. Our world sent signals into the dark. No answer came for a long time. When we finally reached out and met others, we decided one thing. If anyone ever called, we would answer. Fast. No waiting. No committees. Just go. The elders listened in silence. Laura continued. We lost good people today. We will mourn them. We will honor them. But we will not stop. If another rift opens somewhere else, we will come again. And if your people need help tomorrow, call us. We will answer. Ilaris felt something warm in his chest. Something he had not felt in many cycles. We will call, he said. And we will stand with you. Not behind, not in front, beside. Laura smiled small. That's all we ask. The channel closed. Days passed. Repair work continued. Human tugs pulled damaged ships to safe orbits. Coalition yards opened to human vessels. Engineers from both sides worked together. They shared tools. They shared stories. They laughed at small mistakes. One evening, Laura visited the Eternal Harmony. No ceremony, just her and two aides. Ilaris met her at the airlock. They walked the crystal halls together. You have seen our worlds, Ilaris said. Old, slow, beautiful in their way, but slow. Laura looked at the pillars. Beautiful and strong. You survived 12,000 years. That takes something too. Ilaris stopped. We survived by waiting, by planning. You survived by moving, by risking. We need both. Laura nodded. We build something new. They reached the observation deck. Stars filled the wide window. No rift, no shadows, just light. Ilaris spoke soft. We sent a plea beyond distant worlds. Many ignored it. You answered, swiftly, and you stayed until the end. Laura looked at the stars. We answered because we could, and because we remember what it feels like to wait for help that never comes. Ilaris placed a hand on the glass. The galaxy feels different now, smaller, safer. Laura smiled. It can be, if we keep answering when someone calls. They stood quiet for a long time. Then Laura turned. My fleet will stay until repairs finish. Then we head home. But we leave a liaison team, permanent, to coordinate future work. Ilaris bowed. We welcome them. Laura left soon after, back to her ship, back to her people. The human fleet stayed another cycle. They helped rebuild stations. They trained coalition crews in fast response drills. They shared medical knowledge. They shared jokes. They shared grief for the lost. When the last repair tug pulled away, Laura opened a final channel. To all coalition vessels. Endeavor and fleet are departing. Safe travels. Stay in touch. Ilaris answered. Safe journey home, Captain Bennett. The stars are brighter because of you. The human ships jumped out, one by one. Engines flared. Then silence. But the silence felt warm now, not empty. In the cycles that followed, joint fleets patrolled the old rift site. Human and coalition ships side by side. They built new relays. They shared maps. They answered calls from other systems together. And when a new threat appeared, small at first, far away, both peoples heard it. They did not wait. They moved, swiftly, because the plea had been answered once, and the promise held. Neighbors did not let neighbors face the darkness alone. Many cycles passed after the rift closed. The stars near Lyris 9 burned steady once more. No dark tear, no hungry shadows. Coalition worlds rebuilt what they lost. Stations grew new sections. Ships returned to old patrols, but something felt different in the quiet halls and crystal chambers. The elders spoke softer. They planned faster. They looked at maps with new eyes. Captain Laura Bennett became a name known across many systems, not shouted from towers, not carved in stone, just spoken with respect when leaders gathered. She returned home with her fleet. The Endeavor needed long repairs. Many crew needed rest, some needed time to mourn. But Laura did not stay away long. A permanent liaison office opened on the Eternal Harmony. Human advisors lived there. They wore simple uniforms. They shared meals with coalition officers. They taught quick drills. They listened to old stories. They told new ones. The elders learned human words like improvise and adapt. Humans learned coalition words like patience and harmony. Both sides smiled more. Years later, a small threat appeared far from Lyris 9. A rogue asteroid swarm drifted toward a quiet mining colony. The rocks moved wrong, pushed by old engines someone forgot to shut down. Coalition sensors caught it late. Evacuation would take too long. The call went out. Short message, clear need. Laura received it on Earth. She was older now, silver threads in her brown hair, lines around her eyes from many watches. She read the alert. Then she stood. "Get the response team ready," she told her aide. "Same protocol. Fast burn. Everything we have." The aide nodded. "The elders will be glad to see you again." Laura smiled small. "Let's not keep them waiting." The fleet assembled quicker than before. Ships that once needed weeks to mobilize left dock in days. They loaded supplies. They checked weapons. They kissed families goodbye. They jumped. When they arrived, the asteroid swarm had grown closer. Coalition ships patrolled at safe distance. They planned careful evacuation routes. They calculated slow. Laura's voice came over the channel first. "Endeavor to Coalition Command. We're here. Show us the rocks." Coordinator Elleris appeared on the viewer. He looked older, too. Silver skin a little duller, but his eyes still sharp. "Captain Bennett, your speed honors us again." Laura shook her head. "No honors, just work. Let's clear those rocks." The humans moved in. Small tugs pushed the biggest asteroids away. Railguns broke the dangerous ones into dust. Marines in suits landed on the larger pieces. They planted charges. They set timers. They jumped clear before explosions bloomed silent in the void. Coalition ships watched, then joined. They learned fast. They added their own careful touches, precise beams to guide fragments. Together the swarm scattered. The colony stayed safe. After the last rock drifted harmless, Laura opened a private channel to Alaris. "Threat gone," she said, simple. Alaris bowed. "Again you came swift. Again you saved lives." Laura looked at the stars. "We made a promise. We keep it." Alaris paused. "We have changed because of you. We move faster now. We risk more. We trust more." Laura smiled. "And we have changed too. We wait sometimes. We plan deeper. We listen longer. Your patience teaches us." They talked a while. Quiet words, old memories, new hopes. Then Laura said, "We will leave a permanent detachment here, not just advisors, full ships, ready if needed." Alaris answered soft, "We welcome them, as partners, as friends." The human ships stayed longer this time. Crews walked coalition stations. They ate strange food. They learned songs. Children from both sides played together in zero-gravity parks. Laughter sounded the same in every language. One day, a young human engineer sat with a young Vireth student. They looked at a holomap of old stars. "Why did you come so fast the first time?" the Vireth asked. The engineer thought, "Because waiting hurts more than running does. We know what it feels like to call and hear nothing. We never want anyone else to feel that. The Vireth nodded slow. We waited too long before. Now we answer faster too. They smiled at each other. Laura stood on the observation deck of the Eternal Harmony one last time. Ilaris joined her. They looked at the same stars. You sent a plea beyond distant worlds, Ilaris said quiet. Laura nodded, and only humans answered swiftly. Ilaris placed a hand on the glass. But now many answer, because you showed us how. We showed each other. They stood in silence. Two old friends from different worlds, different lives, same promise. When the time came to leave, Laura's fleet jumped out slow. No rush this time, just steady, safe. But the liaison ship stayed. Human hulls beside coalition ones, gray metal next to living crystal. Ready. And when new calls came, small threats, big dangers, both answered. Together. Swift when needed, careful when wise. The galaxy grew quieter. Not from fear, from trust. Neighbors watched each other's backs. And the plea that once went unanswered now echoed with many voices. All because one young species ran toward the dark when others waited. And the old ones learned to run beside.